process of adoption. When I arrived here in Tallahassee in 2000, one of the first committees I sat on was now Senator Dieter's Child and Family Security Committee. We dealt with the disappearance of Relia Wilson. She languished in foster care and bounced around our state system. She was not alone. Today in my office, there is a picture of a little girl from the Heart Gallery waiting for adoption. She too is not alone. There's over 3,000 children waiting for adoption right now. There's over 25,000 children in out-of-home care controlled by the state. Simply, as Senator Altman's good bill, which says, we won't ask you about your legal activities. My amendment adds a line, we won't ask you about your orientation. I encourage you to support the amendment.
Senator from the 29th, you're recognized, and then Senator from the 34th, Senator Rich will be recognized. Senator from the 29th, Senator Smith, you're recognized. Yes, sir.
No question, sir.
For a question.
Senator Justice, are there currently gay, lesbian individuals serving as foster parents within the state? And if so, for how long have they been serving?
Senator from the 16th, Senator Justice, you're recognized.
Thank you, Mr. President. Thank you for that very good question, because that strikes at the irony of Florida's laws. There's many couples that serve as foster parents for years and years and years and are denied the right to adopt.
Further questions of the sponsor? Further questions in debate on the amendment? Senator from the 34th, Senator Rich, you're recognized.
Thank you, Mr. President. I would like to debate, but I also would like to thank you for giving us the opportunity to have this honest dialogue on the floor today. Whether a person owns a gun or not has no bearing on his or her ability to be a loving parent. That's what this bill is about. Neither does their sexual orientation. Senate Bill 530 will make it clear in Florida law that you can't discriminate against gun owners who want to become adoptive parents. And I'll be voting for this bill because I don't think they should be discriminated against. But I'm also not going to let the debate on this bill pass without pointing out a far graver inequity in our state's adoption laws. For 33 years now, it has been against the law in Florida for same-sex couples and gay and lesbian individuals to adopt children. It's a law grounded in fear and ignorance rather than in sound public policy considerations. It was passed in 1977 as a backlash against Miami-Dade County, passing an ordinance to protect people against discrimination in employment, housing, and public accommodation due to sexual orientation. In the campaign to repeal that law, and in the effort to pass the adoption ban, the rhetoric revealed the level of bigotry and irrational fear that seems unthinkable today. There is, of course, no credible academic or scientific study that supports the idea that gay or lesbian people are somehow a threat to children. But that's exactly what the proponents of this ban said to scare people 33 years ago. The statements they made are rightly unacceptable in today's world. Public opinion shows that more than half, 55% of Floridians, think the ban on gay adoption should be repealed. 9 of our predecessors in this Senate who voted for the ban in 1977 have said that it was wrong to do so and have urged its repeal. Recently, several judges have declared the statute unconstitutional, and yet this relic of the law remains on the books. As a result, there are families who have been torn apart. You've just heard about foster care parents who can't adopt. There are thousands of children who languish in foster care when perfectly willing and suitable adoptive parents are turned away. There are people who cannot even adopt children born with their own DNA through in vitro technology or surrogate parents. There are heterosexual, married with children families who cannot declare in their wills that a gay or lesbian relative should adopt their child in case something happens to them. I know this amendment is not going to pass today, and that Florida's discriminatory adoption ban will also not fall today, even though I have filed legislation to do just that for the last 4 years. It's been 4 years since there's been any debate on this issue in any official Senate proceeding, including any committee, and it's been 33 years since this issue has been debated on the floor of this chamber. It's about time we did something about that.
Senator from the 33rd, Senator Wilson, please.
Thank you, Mr. President. When you have the opportunity to be the principal of an elementary school for a long time, 12 years, you encounter so many experiences. And I had foster children in my school who I would often wish that they just had someone that they could call mother and father. And I also had foster children in my school who were being fostered by gay couples. Those children were happy, they were well adjusted, there was much parental involvement, and there was a big difference between those foster children and the children who had no person who really wanted to adopt them, who were gay and lesbian. As I evolved in my career, I happened to be personal friends with a former mayor of mine who had the opportunity to adopt a little girl with his gay partner. A beautiful little girl who's well adjusted, who is gifted, who anyone who saw her would know that she gets what she needs, all of the love and contentment. And once you have these kinds of experiences and you know that there are children all across this nation, all across this state, because it's this state that we're concerned about, that's not allowing it all across this state, that are being denied the same kind of future that this little girl is being denied because of bigotry, because of prejudice, and because of just not knowing any better and not having a real sense of knowledge and connection with the children and what they actually need. It is my hope that at some point we will reach that threshold when we will not only hear the debate on Senator Ridley's bill, but it will come to the floor for a positive vote for the good of the children of the state of Florida. Thank you.
Senator Geller, recognized in debate on the amendment.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. President. Thank you, Senator Justice, for bringing this for discussion. You know, look, I think there are many ways you can be a good parent and a bad parent. I think what the kind of love you have in your heart is probably the most important thing. The one thing that I don't think has an impact is your sexual orientation. And I believe this is the kind of debate we need to have on the floor of the Florida Senate. Because I do believe that there are many, many children who are not being afforded a beautiful home simply because of what I believe is an antiquated and wrong-headed policy. For me, it is very simple. The thing that should decide adoption proceedings should always be the best interest of a child. And whatever that may be, that is how it should be determined. And that is what we should